Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Nico Williams back with another episode of Do You Hear Me with Unico Williams. Special, the Diddy trial. Um, Sorry, I was missing the last couple of days, but we're back to it. Jane Doe still is on the stand. So we are going to jump right into today's what happens. So Jane Doe, people are speculating that she is um 50's baby mama potentially. So people are saying that. I'm not sure. So my typical source where I just read and do what I do, um, it's not they. I think he got kicked out of court or something. So inner city. Hope you get to come back in there tomorrow. Inner city news, but that's been the plug. All right. So of course, Diddy Squad comes in and the judge comes up, and one of Sean Diddy Combs' accusers is expected to return to the stand, continue testifying soon. But before we get into that, we understand and know that Diddy's team be playing. And when I say that, they always trying to get a mistrial. They always trying to do all this, that, and the third. So they tried it. The defense submitted to move for mistrial over the weekend. It was based on the testimony of Brianna Bangalan, which defense attorneys said was demonstrably false. So she was saying, I mean, that's the one that was like Cassie's friend and they were doing drugs or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Um, Also, Judge Subramanian denied the prosecutor's motion to recall expert witness Don Hughes for further expert testimony. Earlier in the trial, Hughes, a clinical and forensic psychologist, testified in general terms about the behavior of people who are victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and traumatic stress. Um, so the defense, they go on there and they continue trying to put forth an argument on the record about the defense mistrial motion, which the judge denied this morning. Um, and like I said, it's based on Brianna Bongalan, and Shapiro accused Bongalan, a friend of Cassie Ventura's, of perjury, and said the government knew or should have known that the alleged balcony altercation with Combs couldn't have occurred when Bongalan claims because Sean Diddy Combs Virginia were not and Ventura were not in Los Angeles at the time. So that was one of the things they uh try to do. And looks like the judge said that the defense was not prejudiced by the testimony in part because the defense was able to conduct vigorous cross examination of Bangalan about the timing of the incident. So um, the judge said it was like a Perry Mason moment that he thought the defense would be celebrating. Um, so now Jane is back on the stand. Tenny Garagos is beginning cross examination. So, kicking off the cross examination of Jane, defense attorney Tenny Garagos established with her that they've met several times. So, she was saying that she has met with the government in regards to the situation. She said that she dated Diddy from 2021 to 2024. Also acknowledged that she stopped speaking to the defense in April, just before the trial, and she hasn't felt pressured by the defense. Jane also acknowledged that she feels her attorney, whose fees Combe is covering, is representing her well, despite Combe being the payer. So Diddy is actually paying for this. Jane has not seen or spoken to Combe since before his September arrest in New York. She testified. Um, then she started talking about she didn't understand the terms and conditions of her relationship with Diddy. Um, she asked if she regretted a lot of the choices she made throughout her relationship with Diddy. She said, I resent him for leading me to the lifestyle he led me to. My choices were made under a lot of emotional pressure. Jane says she was hooked from the beginning of the relationship, but she didn't understand the terms and conditions of what our relationship would be like. So now she starts talking about how he was my baby. Um, the way that Diddy went about introducing me to the lifestyle that was built under a lot of emotional manipulation and pressure. But she also said that she still loves him. Um, So then they went through the routine of the hotel night that Jane previously described on direct examination. A hotel night were just sexual encounters that generally included a male entertainer. Jane says she's just very naturally nurturing and loved to take care of Combs after a hotel night. Yes, he was my baby, Jane said. She said she gave him foot massages, feed him, and bathe him. She put on his favorite show, Dateline, and they watching until he fell asleep. I didn't know he fell asleep. But anyway, yes, Jane testified she endured the hotel nights so that they could have time together afterwards. So she was like saying she's breaking all of her own boundaries just to make him feel extremely loved. Um, And the reason she was cool with the hotel nights is because it was a vulnerable moment. I felt that my partner was trusting me in very vulnerable moment. And well, so he made me believe that this was something really special. This was something only he and I did. And I really took that on very strongly. Jane says that she believed that while together, she was the only woman Combs was having hotel nights with. She said she would go through messages on his phone to make sure. She also testified that she left loved at the time because we experienced these nights together, or she felt loved because we experienced these nights together and because they were really special to him. And as time went on, it was just very conflicting for me internally because I'm breaking all my own boundaries just to make him feel extremely loved. You know? Sexual encounters with or without entertainers often involve role play with Combs. So they start talking about how during the hotel nights, like for instance, she would have an entertainer, one of the male workers or whatever, come in and pretend that, you know, that she was cheating on him, and then he comes home and catches her or some shit, right? Um, Then they asked, would she willingly get back with Combs after times they stopped talking? She would say, we would get back because we missed each other. So you would get back together with him on your own volition? And she said, yes. And she said, Diddy would uplift me. Jane says, when asked to say what she loved about him, um, he being a very bright light when she met him. And she said that he's very motivating and encouraging, helped her to be less shy and more confident. He would uplift me. She also confirmed that Diddy supported her dress and swimwear fashion lines. He invested $20,000 in her dress line. Jane says she felt like she only met 10% of her earning potential while dating Diddy. Um, the defense attorney asked if the total amount Combs wired her was more than $150,000. She said, I never really counted, but I would assume, yeah, that would be close. She said when she met Combs in 2020, she was making money from Instagram influencing and also received $4,700 per month in child support. Once she was with Combs, she said she couldn't devote the time to influencing and felt like she only met 10% of her earning. So then Jane testified that she moved into a new home in April 2023. She thought that if they had got a home that was to Sean Diddy's taste level, then we could just start at least doing hotel nights here in the privacy of our own home. She confirmed that she and Diddy did not want that and did not want anything about the hotel nights to leak. She confirmed that it was important that the public didn't know anything about the hotel nights and that Combs employees didn't know anything about the entertainers. Um, and let's see. So Jane, who dated Combs, testified last week that as part of a love contract she entered into with him in 2023, Combs agreed to give her $10,000 monthly that she used on rent for her new home. She moved into the rented house in April 2023, and Diddy still pays for the rent, just like he's paying for her attorney. Um, the jury then got to listen to audio messages between Diddy and Jane after their Turks and Caicos trip. That's his shit. He likes taking girls there, I guess. Um, he's previously testified that during that trip, Diddy sprung an entertainer and a hotel night on her, prompting an argument that threw things off between them for days. The two traded loving text messages and voice messages about how much fun they had. In Combs' voice note, he said he loved her. Diddy also mentioned Jane's contract, which Jane testified was a reference to the love contract they just brokered, which led Combs to renting a $10,000 per month home for her. The jury heard an upbeat recorded response Jane sent Combs telling him that she had so much fun on the trip and loved him and felt closer to him. Everything just feels so good and I'm so happy. She said she did have fun with Diddy and was expressing that she loved the time with him, excluding the time they spent with entertainers. Uh, then she said that Diddy paid $40,000 up front to cover the security deposit and the rent for the first month and the last month. Diddy's team pointed out that the landlord already possessed several months of rent payments in case Combs ever decided to stop paying the rent. She suggested that Combs indicated that he was also open to paying 3 more months of Jane's rent when they were about to break up. And then so they asked Jane if she ever believed Combs would stop paying her rent. She said there were some times that I definitely felt that he would do that, and he used it kind of as a tool. The rent was always just like a little reminder. Um, he said so. She said that Diddy was still getting to know him, or she was still getting to know Diddy, and she testified she was with him in Miami before he bought her a pair of shoes, Bottega Veneta bag, and a bracelet. And he explained to her that he led a polyamorous dating style. So Jane said she didn't mind at first because we were still getting to know each other, but it became difficult once she had deeper feelings for Diddy. I was feeling my man and wanted him to be just mine. Um, so she then said it became difficult for her when Sean Diddy started spending time with Young Miami about 6 months to a year after they began dating. Combs and Young Miami had a very public relationship that appeared to be monogamous and would post each other on social media. But Jane said her relationship with Combs was very private. Um, so now, after their on their first trip to Turks and Caicos, she said that she suggested that Diddy go to a rehabilitation center in Thailand when she realized how the drugs he was taking affected him. On the flight to Turks and Caicos, she noticed his shaky hands, eyes, teeth, and coloring seemed off. I could tell he wasn't taking very good care of himself. In the beginning, I didn't really know how to label it. I encountered somebody that was overdoing the party. As our relationship continued, I noticed a very strong pattern, and I still didn't really even label it as a drug addict. I think now I would say that, but then I just would say that he was a really big party guy. Um, Towards the end of the relationship, she learned Diddy was taking antidepressants. She confirmed she wanted to get him off of drugs and back to his natural form. She testified that Diddy had once told her he was interested in getting ketamine therapy. They had a break, and looks like Diddy's mom, sister, and two sons are in the courtroom today, sitting behind them. Okay, so she's back on the stand. And basically, she was saying during the hotel nights, the portion of me and him, yes, I love that part. She testified that they would have some alone time for about 30 minutes to an hour before the entertainer came and after they left, and that she enjoyed when the two of them would make love. Jane confirmed that Combs gave her the attention and affection she wanted during those hotel nights. So let's see. And then she said she was okay with the hotel night video recordings. She didn't mind it, and she said that apparently that they liked watching the videos back, but she said that she just kind of just accepted it. So she was like, I did not like that part, but it was just a part of a relationship. She said there was rare occasions where the hotel nights ended early. So like if she felt like like if she wasn't attracted or comfortable with the person, but only after she tried to at least try something with the dudes for a little bit of time. But then she would, push back and be like, "Nah, I ain't trying to do all that." Defense talks ask about Diddy's reactions to Jane crying after two hotel nights. He said she cried after one of them, and then she cried because Diddy was about to leave her soon after. And when asked, Jane confirmed that when she asked Combs to stay with her to comfort her, he rearranged his plan so he could go. So I mean, Diddy wasn't always jacked up, but she said that he was too high to see her cry and said, "You're gonna ruin my high." Then she says that her and Karina Karam, who is Diddy's like chief of staff, um, Karam told her was basically trying to get Jane to bring drugs to Miami for him. He talked to Karam about how to get the drugs in her check luggage. So that's trafficking or drug enterprise, if you will. Um, the messages read aloud did not include Karam saying that, but Jane maintained that she did speak on the phone with Karam about it. Um, and he said, I believe that she had very strong opinions about me, which influenced a great deal of how Sean also treated me. She did admit to reaching out to the entertainers. Let's see, they brought up Sly. Uh, she testified that she and Combs were watching Sly's pornographic videos one night before she reached out to him. So she reached out to, with the encouragement of my partner. She looked him up, given the context of what was happening in my relationship. Yes, um, he was encouraging her to reach out to Sly. All right, they go on lunch. Um, so she says emotional pressure. They were on and off again. There was a finance aspect of things. Diddy said that he's polyamorous. She just did a lot of stuff just so that she could hang out with him. And in the dynamics, she testified that she was not very close with Combs' chief of staff, Christina Karam, which she said made her relationship with Combs more difficult because Karam was always with him. Um, let's see. So she said that she doesn't think that Combs workers saw them with the entertainers during like deliveries. Like they was just doing their job. It is what it is. And apparently, let's see. So she's critical with regard to sex trafficking allegations because we're talking about whether or not this was consensual. With respect to the actual things that she says during testimony, I think she furthers that narrative. Um, she just like Cassie said, she no longer wanted to do that or be what she described as a side chick in her own relationship, as well as telling Diddy she felt like she was reading my own sexual trauma in Cassie's Ventura civil lawsuit. Um, and then the judge gets back on the bench, and the trial is expected to join for the day at 3. Defense asked Jane about 2021 texts to Combs and an adult performer. So like they were basically trying to get like pictures from him and from the Sly guy. And he was asking her to reach out to Sly for like these videos. A few days after that, Jane texted Sly about coming to visit and said, I'll organize. And then she's testified she's with Combs at the time, and they were trying to figure out if and when they would see Sly. So they just, mm. Jane says she agreed to sexual encounters with other men because she thought it was the only way to see Combs. So apparently there was this time where she wanted to hang out with him, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna bring an entertainer over. And then he was like, oh, never mind, I ain't coming there. So yeah, man, it's ugly. And then next up, the jury heard voice messages that Diddy and Jane exchanged on November 22nd when they were discussing seeing each other's. And he wanted to do something about like he had a big grand vision. And but he wanted to just spend time with her, but he wanted to have Don and Sly come through. Um, let's see, they showed some text messages and they asked, how much do Bottega bags run? And how she said, how much does my body cost? So the judge cautioned Jane to answer the questions as asked. Um, she said that the range was from 1,500 to 5,000, and then she said she didn't know how much a Chanel bag cost. She didn't ask for a break. Uh, so she said she profited a little bit from the $20,000 that was used to help start up her company, and then she was getting a $10,000 for rent. And my positive messages about hotel nights were meant to ensure Diddy didn't feel rejected. So he liked to recap what they did, and they could be alone with an entertainer and didn't have to do Molly. Jane responded she believed when she saw it. She also wrote at the time that she knows Combs likes hotel nights and said she didn't mind them. So that's what Diddy's trying to do, or his team rather. So the jury gets dismissed for today. The trial's back at 1 o'clock tomorrow, which is cool. Because I think she'll be the only witness. Um, so more than anything, she's just like this is the only option that she had in regards to seeing Diddy. Um, they saw text messages previously shown during direct examination where she was frustrated about the hotel nights. She testified about specific voice messages discussed, which she and Combs talked about seeing each other. Combs suggests they set up involving two entertainers they frequently use, but she replied that she thought she wanted to have that situation as a grand finale after he finished his album. Said she was actually trying to make excuses to get out of this thing that he's encouraging me to set up. And then she said she now lives in a home larger than her previous one and that she profited a little bit from the dress business. As she previously mentioned, she also confirmed that Diddy never asked for a share of the proceeds. When Garagos questioned her about her early testimony regarding her limited ability to work, she said, had I not dove headstrong on this relationship, I probably would have been a bit more successful in that time frame. So that's it. That's what happened. Day 20. Jane's up there. Like, it's yes, freak offs. Yes, they went to go get drugs. That's all they're trying to build is the case that there was some sex trafficking, there was some prostitution involved, and then people being manipulated to do things that they didn't really want to do. So there you have it, folks. That's your day 20 coverage of the Diddy trial. So thank you for tuning in to another episode. Do You Hear Me? With Unico Williams. Special, the Diddy trial. I holla.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. Don't forget, every Thursday, the full podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and mama, I'm on Spotify. Overall 99 ENT bring you videos from Friday all the way to Friday. So be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. Again, thank you so much. I holla.